Maranatha, Christ is coming. Good to see everyone. Good to be in the house of the Lord. Am I right? Good, good. Well, today I want to talk about something. Let me ask a question. What's the organ that burns the most calories? What organ burns the most calories? The heart? It's the brain. The brain, by far and away, the brain burns by far and away the most calories. And obviously we need our brains for everything. So let's talk about some things for having healthier brains and some habits that we can form, some things we can do to promote healthier brains. So obviously, most obvious thing is sleep, right? I was just talking to, a sister about sleep a minute ago. Sleep, if you lose sleep, right, you don't get a good night's sleep, you can't make up for that by sleeping extra. You can't store it in the bank, right? You can't sleep more and store up sleep in the bank and pay back, Peter that you just took a loan from you can't do that, right? So sleep that's lost is lost. That's damage, that's permanent, that can be fixed, but you can't just get it back normal just by sleeping more. So it's important to have a regular sleeping habit, and I'm speaking to myself because that's my biggest problem. I don't drink or smoke, I don't eat meat, I'm super strict with my health. I work out 5 times a week, but I have a problem with late nights. That's my big problem. So I'm trying to fix that myself. But that's a huge thing. If you really want to have an optimal, healthy brain, you need to be sleeping no less than 7 hours a night. And that's if you're a certain type of person. There's different types of people. Some people really need 8.5 or 9 hours of sleep to really be at their best. There are some people like that. There's some types of body types that are like that. Most people it's 8, so everyone knows 8. Some people can do 7, but don't assume that's you. If that's you, you already know. You already know you can handle less sleep and you can be okay, but no less than 7. Anything less than 7, you are doing serious damage, not just to your brain, your whole body. There's a huge rate of heart attacks go way through the roof whenever there's daylight savings and we lose an hour. So that just 1 hour of sleep, heart attacks go way through the roof. It's a known thing, but it's huge for your brain as well. Especially if you're trying to learn information, right? Last time I preached, we talked about wisdom and knowledge, right? We should be seeking wisdom and knowledge, right? We should be wanting to be forever students and learning and accumulating knowledge and wisdom. These are things that God wants us to do. He doesn't want us to be dummies, right? God wants us to be smart and intelligent and educated and knowing about the world, right? God wants that for us. And when you sleep, it's basically hitting the save button on the things that you learned. Think of it that way. If you try to learn all this information, you're trying to learn new skills, new information, if you don't get a good night's sleep, it's like you're not hitting the save button and you'll forget a lot of the stuff that you tried to learn. So really important. Sleep is obvious, right? You can also do things like, there are certain activities that actually can improve IQ and can improve the elasticity of the brain. Right? The brain's very elastic, right? So whenever you're learning things and you're challenging it, you allow the elasticity of your brain to stay supple and pliable, and especially as you get older, right? You know how when people get older, a lot of times their memory starts to get weak, their mental acuity starts to go down, and it's because the plasticity of your brain, it starts to go away, right? It starts to be less supple. But you can help this by constantly learning things, but especially there's a couple things in particular that are really good. And one of them is learning a language. Learning a new language is really good for promoting brain elasticity. Learning a language is very powerful for that. Just because the way language works in the brain, basically the whole brain gets involved when you're learning a new language. He's having a good time. So language learning, that's another big one. And then you've probably heard this one before, but learning an instrument, music. Playing music, learning a new instrument, learning music, and playing music is very powerful for keeping your brain supple and elastic and plastic and keeping it healthy and youthful. So there are things like that you can do to keep your brain challenged and to keep it youthful and strong as you age. And then also obviously, you know, you don't want to be drinking, you don't want to be smoking. Those things do, especially drinking, does serious damage to your brain. It does serious damage to your brain. So like if you want to maintain your brain health, like is it Bruce Willis? You know, he has dementia. He doesn't remember anymore that he was a famous actor. It's very sad. Very sad, you know. Imagine, you know, being, you know, having everything in the world, you know, all the stuff in the world like Solomon, and then now he can't even remember that he ever had any of that stuff. So you do not, you know, be drinking, do not be smoking. You already know that, but there's just another reason why you shouldn't be doing that stuff. And then sleep, lack of sleep can do that too. Lack of sleep can really promote the development of Alzheimer's and dementia. And finally, and again, you all know this, but I'm going to affirm it again, is nutrition. Nutrition, nutrition, nutrition. Remember how God blessed Daniel, right? When he refused to eat the king's meat, drink the king's wine, and he adopted a plant-based diet, and God blessed him, made him, you know, 10 times smarter than all their kids in the court. Blessed him, you know, by leaps and bounds in ways he never imagined. It had to do with his diet, right? His commitment to God via his diet, right? And there are certain foods that you can eat. Especially berries. Berries are really good. Leafy greens are really good. Flaxseed. Flaxseed is really good. Anything with omega-3s is really good, but flaxseed, berries, and leafy greens are some of the best foods you can eat for brain health. So I could talk for an hour on this, but I'll conclude there. So I pray you all may be in perfect health.